I said, hey, Papou, you stand on duty, and I'm going to use the men's bathroom. And you tell him, wait a minute, my wife is in there. So he stood there. Well, it was these Mexicans, these women, they were Mexican, Oriental ladies. And when they saw me going, Papou said, you should have heard those women. They were laughing because I was going to the men's bathroom. Well, it wasn't being used.
You turn around and look, though, they start going in there, too.
I think they started going in there, too. We laughed. Yeah, I can tell you some stories, yeah. But
I'd like to hear some stories.
I said, shoot.
What I want to hear, too, is I kept trying to remember when you were in the service and something about, I don't know if you were running jewelry. What was the thing and you tossed something over the bridge? What's the story about that?
That's
Do you remember?
gun.
Guns, something?
Well, you tossed a gun over a bridge. I remember that
Yeah,
story.
What was the story on that?
You weren't supposed to have them, right?
we were down the staging area getting ready to come back home. And I found...
Was that in India?
Yeah, in India. That we were in Calcutta, the time staging area. And I'd found 3 or 4 45 automatics. And they were, it was... we weren't supposed to have them anyway. And then they decided that they're going to have a showdown inspection. So I was scared to dig it. I could get caught. I'd never get home. Anyway, I had to throw them in the river.
Wow.
But I don't even know if Lydia knew this. When you first went in the service, they were training y'all for secret ops that you were like with a Greek.
Yeah, OSS.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a bunch of Greek guys. Y'all were going to do a...
18 of us.
Right, and what was the plan originally?
Well, just to be used in the invasion of Greece.
But then that got...
Then the British took over and they used the British sphere of influence is what they called it then.
And you ended up doing telephone lines.
Yeah, in Burma.
Now, he wouldn't climb a pole either. They said, hell no.
One time.
Really?
I saw one fella, his spikes cut out. He was straddled a pole.
They got a lot of splinters.
He had a lot of splinters. He left some hanging up there too.
Oh, man.
But I tell you what, it paid off. Since we ran all the telephone lines and communications, we had an airstrip with the pilots that have to land, bring supplies, and these pilots would want telephone service to Calcutta to the nurses. So I said, we can't get through. He said, well, I've got a fifth of scotch out here, so if you can get it through right quick, I'll give you a fifth of scotch. So we had plenty of whiskey. We maintained the communication lines.
Tell Lydia the story of him coming to go visit you. Remember the time when playing hard to get?
Have you heard
the Gordon story?
He used to come up there and
try 4 hours
when they
to
called
Richmond.
me.
To Richmond?
Expected me to go out with him.
She's playing hard to get.
And so
You weren't ready and waiting, Yiayia?
That's all right.
So he came one time. Well, many stories before this one. So one time he came up there, and so he had asked me to marry him. Finally, and I accepted rather. And so my mother let him sleep in the house.
Oh.
Let him sleep in the house.
And so we had, Phil and I, we slept in one bedroom. Then Micah had a room by herself. And the boys had a room over here. My mom and dad slept over here. And so across the hall there was a bathroom in between. So my daddy says, so they said, you can sleep in this bedroom. And all of that was over here. So he says, take this key. And when you go to bed, you lock the door.
What?
For him to lock himself
The
in.
sister. Oh.
So that...
Protect myself.
So another time he came over to spend the night. My brother had come home from the service, Pete, who's passed on there. And he had a rifle and it had a bayonet thing on it. And so he came up and he went in a bedroom. He got a tube of lipstick and found a piece of paper. And he wrote with a lipstick, "Be back." And so when John went to bed, he popped the rifle outside, and he put the with the bed there, and he put the sign on it and said, "We'll be back."
You better stay in your room.
Just saying that he'll be back. And then that time he was going to be guard duty. He was going to be on guard duty. He said, "I'm going to be on guard duty tonight with the rifle."
Girls out of my room.
And so he had to stay in his room.
Yeah, Papou would drive 4 hours to Richmond, and she'd call. Say, "I'm sorry, I'm washing my hair."
I wouldn't see him. He expected me to see him. He had a sister that lived there. So he would go and visit sister. He said, "We'll come and get you and take you to..." Sometime I'd go and have lunch with him. And then he would tell, I said, "I'm sorry, I can't go with you tonight. I'm busy." I'm sorry, I'm washing my hair tonight. I can't see you. I mean, don't come expect me to come see you without letting me know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
She's still like
And
that.
beside that, I had a friend in Lexington. Then I had a friend in Lynchburg.
Men friend.
And I had a friend in
quit bragging.
Atlanta. I had a friend in Newport News.
How many times were you proposed to?
Let me tell you, I had a friend. That's all right. Then I had a friend. Let me tell you about the friend I had in Newport News. We've been sitting there eating. All the family. We've been sitting there. The telephone would ring, and they knew who it was from the thing. It was from Newport News, and he had a farm, and they were going. That if I married him, I was going to live on a farm. And they wouldn't tell me who it was. Khaki. That was just on the telephone.
Where did you meet the New Jersey guy?
Huh?
Where'd you meet him?
Convention. We used to have a Greek convention.
Oh, I don't know.
Once a year, big shindig.
Did they send you
Well,
to those?
we had one of these
Even the girls.
conventions.
Nice Greek boy.
One of these conventions.
Messed
One of
up.
these conventions, Papou says, I've never been on a golf course before. Never. So he saw me that day. He was there. He says, "I'll meet you for breakfast in the morning." So in the meantime, George Mahara says, "Meet you for breakfast in the morning." Ted Smop said, "I'll meet you for breakfast." I'll meet me in the dining room at the hotel for breakfast and all. So when John comes, so Ted, finally George says, "I'm going to play golf. I've been walking on the golf course." But John walked in. He was waiting for me with my mother. You were standing with Mama at the front door. And then I was going out with George on the golf course. And he said, "Damn." So he went home.
No, I went. I played golf right behind y'all.
He went. No, you didn't. So
Trying to hit him.
So when I got through, make a long story short, Yiayia says she was real close with his sister at the time. Catherine was still living. He said, "Let's go by and see Catherine." And I said, "Okay." So I was there, and John was sitting there writing me a letter. He was sitting there writing me a letter at his sister's house. And that was after, so he got me.
He got me. That's cute.
But the first time I met him, I was 13.
Really?
Wow.
When I was 13, I had my aunt, who was my godmother, lived in Greensboro. And she had 4 boys.
I staked her out there.
And I used to come down and visit with her, stay the summer with her. Took that Uncle Pete and I, because he was his godmother too. And so she came over, and so she said, "Let's go to Haw River. I'm going to buy some fabric." And so on the way to Haw River, she said, "Oh, there's a little hot dog place. They didn't sell they sell hot dogs. They didn't sell bread." She said, "Let's stop here at this hot dog place and get hot dog." And we go to Haw River. Well, Papou was there from college. He was going to Chapel Hill at the time. I think it was his first year. That was the first time I met him. Then I didn't see him again until his sister got married. Yiayia and Thicatina were real close. My sister and his sister were real close. So she was coming to the wedding. And in those days, you didn't have to be invited. If somebody in the family was invited, they'd bring the whole family.
Everybody, all the family.
And so she said, "We're going to this wedding. Come on, we'll go to this wedding." And so I was 16 then. I met him when I was 13. Then I met him again when I was 16. Then what happened after that? We didn't get married until I was 23.
He was playing the field then, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he had it. I can tell you, you want me to start on stories about
Yeah.
him? Yeah, how many girls he had?
Who was in the field
He
more?
had one up in the Michigan. Where was she? Where was your
Michigan?
Your mother went with you? Who was the girl? Who was
I
the
didn't have
girl up?
nobody in Michigan.
I got a picture. You and your mother went up there and something, and and she told you, no, you're not going to marry her. And you had another girlfriend, your mother said you're not going to marry her. I don't know how she approved of me.
Yiayia Andre gave you a hard time, didn't he?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, Yiayia told me not to marry
When I
him.
proposed to her,
My mama told me not to marry him.
I proposed to her, she accepted the car. She walked in, her mother, daddy, and two brothers, and her sister was sitting in the living room. I said, we got something to tell y'all. We're going to get married. And I said,
She did not. She did not. She did not. She told me not to marry you, though. We had too many other girlfriends. She said he's going to drop you like he did everybody else. I asked him, I said, who did you give this ring to?
many people many men don't have enough mother-in-laws that'll go out and buy them a fifth of Scotcho.
That's right. Yiayia Andre.
Yeah, tell her that story. How she didn't buy it. She didn't. It was still Mike. Wasn't it?
Then Michael used to get it.
Oh, used to get it.
And then Mike stopped.
Mike said, Mom, I'm tired of getting John with you. If you want him to have this
You
Scotch
gotta
with
go in
you
there
got to
and
go
buy
in. So she had to walk
She
in
made
the
him go in
liquor.
and
Never
buy
been in one.
Really?
I've been in the liquor store before.
Why? She just didn't need to.
No.
You don't.
She found
Nice
that
women
Mike
don't-
made her
nice
go
girls
in
don't
there.
go
She said, she said, I'm tired.
Now, what her dad? What'd your dad drink? Did you know, or did he drink?
Anything that poured.
What? Anything that poured.
He was the funniest thing, though. He was so
He smoked a lot, too, didn't
so
he?
funny. Yeah.
Dog,
Smoked cigars. Oh, gross. He'd have us go in his coat, in his pocket, go get me a stump. And he smoked, they had all these little stumps, and he had
Little
in his pocket,
stumps.
and we had to put our hand in his.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh.
We were on a boat going from Virginia Beach, Newport News to Norfolk. We had to take a train and transfer, and we were standing there one time, and he was leaning over there. I lost my teeth.
No, he didn't. Oh, he tricked y'all.
He had it in his hand. And we were all looking, and nothing we could do. I mean, the teeth are gone. There's no way to go get the top. Stop the boat. I lost my teeth. He put more tricks. Oh, my God. He was the funniest thing.
Y'all are all
Tell him
full
about the Santa Claus. He used to dress up. Oh, that's a great story. Every year he dress up
I
like
think I
Santa
told
Claus.
about the Santa Claus. Have you ever had Santa Claus come visit you? Well, Lord. Missed out on it. Santa Claus came and visited us every year. He sure did. My mother would go to church and all, and they'd come home, and my cousin, who was an only child, Nick, and his mother, he was like a brother. He was always with us. And all. Anyway, we'd be in bed, and when they come home from church, one year he might have had a horn, one year he'd have a bell, one year he'd whatever, and he would come in there and wake us up. So we were scared to death. We were all little. And so we go into the living room and we huddle around my mother. All of us had, because Santa Claus was there. We had a journal. And so he thought, now, Ella, you beautiful Santa Claus, big, heavy, had the whole suit on, the beard and all. Ella, you and your sister had an argument. She wears your sweaters, and you don't want her to wear your sweaters, and because she was bigger than I was, and I could wear hers, but she couldn't wear my things because I was like a beanpole then. Look at me now, though. And then Pete. You and Jim, y'all had a fight. And Mike, you did this. And Nick, you tell us things that we did bad and what we did. He knew what we did and what we didn't do. And so then we only got one gift. But I was lucky. I got two because my birthday was December the 16th, but I thought it was always on Christmas. I didn't know any better. And so the kids, they didn't object, And so we had to share.
Right.
The toys. I mean, we only got one thing. We got one doll, and she could play. I play with your doll, and you play with my doll house, and whatever. No.
Right, but how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had two sisters and three brothers. There were 6 of us, 3 and 3.
Yeah, plenty.
And so the next time he would come, he'd come and wake us up, and this went on for years. And then he would say, "Now, there's more children." He said that Blackie and Sugar looked back kids, a little boy. We called him Blackie, and his sister we called Sugar. And he said, "I'll just go at the back door through the yard to go to their house." And we were all excited, So when he went out the back, he stripped off his Santa Claus suit, and he came. As soon as Santa Claus left, my daddy comes home from work, and he'd have a bag full of candy, fruits and nuts, maybe some candy, I can't remember, anyway. And he always had a bag full, and we'd be so excited, we'd be standing there, "You just missed Santa Claus, you missed Santa Claus, Santa Claus just left," Well, that went on for years, and so finally, my brother, who's an FBI, he thinks he is, my brother Jim, he went through my mama's trunk that they come from the old country inn with those big old metal trunks, and right on the trunk was Santa Claus's suit. What's Santa Claus's suit doing in here? Gotta be
How old were
Daddy,
you?
because Daddy's never here.
How old were you?
I was still little. I don't
10 or
remember
so.
then. And so then, if Dad is Santa Claus, he said, I'm not Santa Claus. Well, you're never here. You always come when Santa Claus leave. He said, well, I'll tell you what. I will be here next year when Santa Claus comes. So, next year, Daddy was there. Santa Claus came. Santa Claus came, and he went through the same routine. And so while he was at, Santa Claus suit didn't fit him too well. Because my daddy was sort of chunky, and this black man, we called him Panayota. We called him Panayota. It's P, but in Greek it's Panayota. And so his sleeve was up like that, and he had his glove on. So my brother, the FBI, he said, Santa Claus is black. He had on the beard, you could see his face, and he was black. And so, well, my dad says, thousands of kids in this world, so y'all got a black Santa Claus this year. And so that was the last time we had Santa Claus. And we were a little older then, too. But he knew what to do. He went through the same routine because Dad had told him what to do, what to say, and how to do, and all that. And so y'all didn't have Santa Claus. We had Santa Claus. We grew up with a Santa Claus.
Me.
Well, we're lucky.
Pretty much.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Andrew.
He was some character, though.
I was not.
We had a dog. We had a great big dog. Somebody in the neighborhood had a dog with that. And he was walking home one night. Had to get off up a block or so and walking home. He was hysterical. The dog jumped him on the back. And he thought somebody had grabbed him. You got me, you got me, you got me. And it was the dog. And he turned around. Well, let me tell you a good one, and then I'll shut up. He was on the streetcar coming home. And we eat a lot of garlic. We make this garlic sauce go to the Mama had cooked it, and he'd eat at the store, and he'd come home on the streetcar. And so all of a sudden, the streetcar, the conductor stopped, and he walked back in the back, and
Smelled
and then the blacks had to sit in the back, and the whites in the front. And he made sure the blacks it was an odor.
Right.
So my daddy knew what it was. But he wasn't going to say anything. And so the conductor kept on, and he says, something's wrong. And he says, and he kept on, and my daddy was ready to crack up, and he didn't know what to do, he didn't know what to say. He couldn't wait till he got off that street, he knew it was him, with the garlic and all. Until he finally got off. Then another time he was in the theater, that was the last
in the
one.
theater.
He was in the movies. And he had fallen asleep. He had had garlic. And he had fallen asleep. And when he woke up, the usher was there, spraying all around, and everybody was gone, and he was the only one there, and he was snoring because of the odor of the garlic.
That's funny.
That was the last time he went to the movies. he was something else. He was something else out there.
Oh, wow.
Lord.
What did your dad do for a living?
We had Dad, where the black people lived, that's so much where they lived. It was a movie district and all that stuff on the corner. In fact, that's where I was born. I was a Second Street girl. Theater, Uncle Pete, Uncle Jim, and I were born there above the store. And the doctor come there and deliver them
Wow.
at the house. And he had downstairs, my mother made, have you ever heard of a potato salad sandwich?
Is it okay?
No, but that sounds delicious.
Let me tell you, those people lived on this stuff. They made a lot of money. And it was, I said a lot of money. It was cheap. She put potato salad, and some of them want a slice of cheese on top of it. And I don't know what she sold them for. She made potato salad sandwiches.
I never heard of that.
And bananas. My daddy went to get his citizenship papers. And so the judge was asking, he said, Mr. Judge, I can read the headlines, tell you what it says and all. He said, but you ask me questions and see if I can answer them. He said, all right, Mr. Andre. He said, who's the president of the United States? So he told him. Who's the vice president? He told him. Who's the mayor? Who's the governor of Virginia? So he was telling him. So he stopped and he said, Mr. Mayor, wait a minute, just a minute. Mr. Judge, he said, wait a minute. can I ask you a question? He said, yes, Miss Andre, what? He said, how much is a bunch of bananas? Then it was like a big stalk, not a bunch, not like we buy, the whole big thing. He said, well, I don't know. He said, you don't know my business, and I don't know your business. He said, I'll get the hell out of here. He gave me citizenship papers. That's how he got it. He sure did. He said, you don't know my business, I don't know your business. He was a character.
And Mom always told me I was being the third baby. We'd go up to Richmond, and she'd put me in the playpen. I'd be in there crying. And he'd say, "Khaki."
That was your no.
I thought it was Papou Andre.
No, her godfather.
Oh.
She'd been in the playpen, khaki.
Baby's crying.
He said, water. Okay, honey. So we've been visiting and drinking coffee and all this. She's right. Khaki. I said, yes, honey. Mom. I said, water. Yeah, okay, honey. And I've been ignoring her. And she did. He said, son of a bitch. Slap the hell out of her. That was your no. That was your no.
I thought it was Papou.
No. It was only feelings. Papou was gone.
Oh man.
Water. She wanted water.